Thank you so much for watching. And before we forget, guys, if you like the channel, make sure that you click on the subscribe button. That way you can get all the updates, all the free videos, and all the free resources that I give out to my subscribers. Could mean shorter days on the market when selling your new development or townhouses or apartments, whatever you've got. Shopping areas, activity center, shopping centers, they all fall under activity centers. Everyone needs to buy groceries. Everyone loves to go to shopping centers. So you've got to understand that if you are closer to a shopping center, not only you'll have a greater uplift in your capital gain, you will also be able to sell it quicker, and so on. So these are the three main things, because these three things for me help me basically mitigate a major risk, and which is that if towards the end it doesn't sell, or if it's taking longer time for it to sell, if I'm in a good location, I can still rent them out. So that's a big part of the risk that I use, that I mitigate that way. Time to walk away. Do not look for a development site in Whoop-Whoopville, basically out of nowhere, or in a location that's recently being developing. So unless you know what you're doing and you have had some experience under your belt. As a novice developer, don't try and be the first in an area. Council can hit you with a lot of unnecessary infrastructure upgrades, which can kill the deal. So this is like a caution that you've got to be careful of when selecting location. Demographics. Determine the population and future growth of the area. Find out the age group of various households. Most importantly, does the suburb mostly consist of owner-occupied properties or is investor-driven? Very, very important. You must understand who's in that area. Time to walk away. If during your due diligence you find that the suburb consists mainly of investment properties, that is, not a lot of owners live there themselves, stay clear. This has happened many times with mining towns. If for some reason you see a decline in population in a suburb over the past years, find out the reason why before you invest in that suburb. Gap analysis is basically the difference between demand and supply. So what it is that it actually helps you determine the gap between the demand and supply, and it's done by determining household growth, income, affordability, comparing renters versus buyers, and you can determine the demand in a particular area, and then you compare this data with the council's pipeline data for development applications to make sure that, okay, that's the current demand and that's the pipeline, that's the development pipeline with respect to all the applications that are already in council. And then you can say, okay, whether or not this area actually needs this kind of development. Gap analysis process. If you wanted to understand what the gap analysis process is, it starts by gathering data, and you can use ABS population, ABS income, and sales records, and the development pipeline. That's where you get all your data. And in the course I explain all these resources where you can get all this data. Demand analysis. You do analysis of household growth, household income, housing affordability, renter versus buyer, and disaggregate growth. Supply analysis. You identify demolition, you identify construction, and you determine net supply. And then you measure the gap, which is demand less supply, and you review historical sales data and fit product to conditions. So depending upon what's more in demand, for example, whether it's apartments or townhouses, that's what you actually develop in that area. Time to walk away. If your demand is low and you see a huge list of development applications on your council's website, it's time to walk away. You come across a site for sale with plans and permits for 2-bedroom townhouses, and your gap analysis shows that the demand is for 3-bedroom townhouses, as the suburb is dominated with young families. It's the wrong product fit for that market, and it's time to walk away. So these are the three important things that you've got to consider in your due diligence process. And we go into a lot more detail than this, but this is just an overview for you to get an understanding of what's involved in the pre-selection process. Post-selection, there are four major things that should become part of your due diligence process. Determining highest best possible use, understanding the physical characteristics, determining the land value, and legals. Highest best possible use, it's about maximizing the development capacity of land or property while playing under the rules of res code, zoning, and overlays. Determining what the number of units, townhouses, apartments you can fit on a block of land in order to make the development viable. Time to walk away. Don't become adamant about pushing boundaries with council. That's a big no-no, because just because your feasibility does not show a profit with 4 townhouses, don't try and squeeze in a 5th one. It would only delay your application, and you could end up in VCAT in Victoria, or you'll end up waiting for your planning permit. Thanks for watching the video. All links are actually in the description. If you would like to download a free resource, which is the free property development blueprint, you can do so from my website by clicking on free blueprint, and you should be able to download everything. So make sure you check out propertydevelopmentsystem.com.au, and also the links in the description below. I'll see you next time.